Hi there. Welcome back for another alignment break. We are going to continue our exploration into navigating winter and accessing alignment when we find ourselves in periods of winter, whether that's the literal winter, the season, or the metaphorical winter, which really just refers to those periods of time in our lives where shit just feels pretty hard and challenging more so than usual. I'm Nova Whiteman. I am the author of Awake and Aligned and the creator of the Spiritual Alignment Method. And it is my goal and aim and greatest pleasure to create more conscious content for you to help you navigate this very human experience, being aware that you are a spiritual and energetic being and finding very practical and humanly accessible ways to do so. So let's dive into our focus for today. In the last alignment break, we talked about the two most important daily alignment practices to adapt and commit to in winter. Again, literal or metaphorical winter. This week, I want to explore something very simple that you can do to really enhance your experience when life feels harder or more stagnant um, and more challenging in the winter months. And it's just a really simple concept that I dive into in my book called What Supports Your Alignment. Finding those things, identifying and implementing those things that naturally support you being able to get into that state of flow, that state of alignment, that state of feeling good and connected and tuned in more often. And I'm talking about those things that are external and physical in your environment. That's usually the most accessible place for people to start. And it's usually the most often overlooked place. So, what I'm talking about there are things like fresh flowers. How many of you make sure that you have fresh flowers in your house in the winter? Right? That seems to be the thing that we do in summer months or when the weather's nice and maybe it's not in your house, but it's more, you tend to your gardens, your landscaping, you buy the hanging baskets, you do all of that like outdoor bright decor, and that's the number one thing in the summer that helps us, naturally be in a better mood or have more energy and high vibrating is we have so much more variety in our landscape, anywhere from the variety of colors, the sights, the sounds. We actually hear birds singing and people out and about, the smells of the flowers and whatnot. In the winter, we're kind of devoid of all of that. It's like our senses get vastly undertended to. So I don't know about you, but here in Minnesota, and I imagine it's like this to a certain degree, even in places where your external environment doesn't drastically change like it does here. We go from beautiful greens and, of course, going into fall, we've got just gorgeous fall colors and all of this like external sensory environmental stuff that inspires and nourishes and supports us, to white, to no more leaves. Well, the ones that are remaining are like just this dull brown. And, you get brown from the dirt that gets kicked up when you're driving and whatnot and mixes in with the snow. But it's just a very dull, monotonous landscape. If you're not doing something to actively fill your environment with things that are a little bit more pleasing to your senses. So, something as simple as bringing in fresh flowers and making sure you have that both for your sense of sight as well as your sense of smell. Playing music can be really, really cathartic and therapeutic and uplifting, but something that we don't do because you tend to get into this rhythm, this vibe of like stillness. And that's what winter is for. This isn't like condemning winter. We need winter in, terms of our seasons and our environment and what it contributes, but more so in terms of like the natural cycles and rhythms of life of, like winter is the time to go inward. It's the time to be more reflective, introspective. It's supposed to be more quiet and still so that we can focus more inward. It's in place for a reason and it nourishes us and gets us, especially if we embrace it, it gets us to that point where once spring hits or summer, those more lively and vibrant months, we're here for it. We're ready for it. We're up to speed for it. We've got our clarity and our desires, and we're ready to go. So there's the purpose for it. I don't want to paint this picture of like, just get through it. But these are some ways that we can actually thrive. And it really comes down to what is supporting me during this season. In terms of, it not being a physical winter or environmental seasonal winter, but more of those metaphorical winters where like life is just more challenging, or maybe you're in a prolonged ebb state where you are more still and internal. You feel like you want to isolate a little bit more, or maybe it's impacting by, the pandemic and you're in a lockdown or, something like that, or you're just being extra cautious by spending more time inward. That can get stale. That can get monotonous. We all know what that looks and feels like by now, right? So even by doing something as simple as bringing in fresh flowers, playing music, like one example is I recently ordered, or I got a new teapot, a new tea kettle for Christmas, an electric tea kettle, but it's super cute. It's one of those like long neck ones. It's green, add a little bit more color to my environment. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to create a little tea bar. I've got like this desk over here that just, it's the catch-all desk for all my kids' homework and crap and just stuff I don't want to deal with. We all just set it over there. Well, what if I just cleaned that off and I created a little tea station? So I bought this little stand that holds, it has little branches on it. It's like a little mug tree for my tea mugs. I bought a cute little box that, holds my different varieties of tea. And then I've got my cute little tea kettle, and voila, I'm going to put some fresh flowers there too. I've got this beautiful little station in my house that really, it promotes that sense of coziness, that sense of like embracing the winter, because I really enjoy drinking tea in the winter because I can't drink coffee all day as much as I would really like to. So it's also that everybody's familiar with this term now, and I even learned how to pronounce it correctly. It's I think a Swedish or a Danish practice. I used to think it was pronounced Hygie, but it's Hygge. Hygge. It's spelled Hygge, but it's Hygge. But it's that practice of embracing the coziness and really bringing things into your environment to promote and make it be more inviting to embrace these winter months. Twinkle lights are awesome. I've got twinkle lights everywhere, and those suckers are on all winter long until it's like full-blown summer here. So those are some ideas for what to do physically, or how to bring some more things into your environment to support your alignment using your physical senses. Exercise is another one. I know that's harder to do in the winter, but notice how it makes you feel. Like it can get really hard to get yourself to exercise, even going for a walk outside. But start to associate it with how it makes you feel, and understand that when you feel good, you are in a state of alignment. When you are in a state of alignment, you are a magnet for everything that you want to come to you. You are super receptive for those answers, those solutions, those opportunities that you've been dreaming about, praying for, thinking about, imagining in your mind to come through, to have the universe deliver to you. So it's not just a matter of, oh, I don't feel like it. It's a matter of, okay, I don't feel like it, but I know it's important to feel good. When I feel good, I'm in a state of alignment, and all those things can come to me. Use it as motivation, in other words. So what supports your alignment physically, but also what supports your alignment mentally, emotionally? So one thing that I've noticed in the human experience is that we tend to identify certain things for ourselves and make rules about them. And then make those rules, we attempt to have those rules cover all year long, no matter the season, physically, nature-based, or the season of life. Like if we're going through a particularly hard challenge, if we're pregnant, we're still, damn it, we're going to do the same things we did when we weren't pregnant. When we've all of a sudden you're taking on care for your elderly parent or a family member, but you know what, life goes on as normal. I got to just fit this into my box and my structure. And we don't take the time to be flexible and to readjust and ask ourselves, what is going to support my life now with this new season, with this new element, with this new challenge? And that is so, so important, because if you don't do that, you're going to find yourself in a lot more resistance because the structure that you built does not support being in flow for this new development. So using our example of just winter, I noticed that in the winter, I have to drastically um, simplify my schedule. I will not schedule any calls in the morning. I have to have that time to just, and for me, morning up until 11 a.m., that's like the earliest I will take on a call, because I need that much time to sink into the day. Whereas in the summer, it might not be that way. I wake up earlier, more naturally. I don't take as long to click in. So what do? I adjust my schedule and I give myself permission to do that. I create more white spaces in my calendar where I just block off that time and I say, no, don't schedule anything there. And I don't have to justify it. I don't have to say, oh, sorry, I can't do that because I've got this, that, and the other thing. I say, no, sorry, I can't do that. That's my white space, my downtime. I give myself these pockets of time because I've learned that I need them. I've learned the hard way that I need them. So that's an idea. It can be, lightening your workload. If you know that it's harder to work and you have the ability to delegate. And I'm not just talking about like work. I'm talking about like life, personal life. If you have all of, these daily responsibilities, look to see how you can delegate. I noticed recently, hey, my kids are older. Those little suckers can do the dishes. They can do that. I mean, they've been doing this for a while, but that was an aha moment for me. Like, yeah, it gets monotonous to I have to cook dinner and feed everybody again. My husband does too. We don't do the gender stereotype role. In fact, if we do, it's reversed. He does more than I do. But you delegate these tasks, or you give yourself permission to not be on top of the laundry or on top of the this and the that. Like, create space for yourself when you notice yourself moving more slowly and needing more stillness, needing more of that reading a book by the fireplace. This can also include being very mindful of your social life. So don't pack it in the calendar, right? Especially if you just know that you tend to be somebody who backs out at the last minute in the winter because it sounds good in the moment, but then when it comes right down to it, if it's snowing, if it's cold, if it's whatever, and you just don't feel like it, you don't have to feel guilty about backing out. So that can look like anything from, just don't schedule anything, let it be spontaneous based on how you feel that day. Or if you do plan something, just kind of work that in there. Yeah, that sounds great. Let's plan on dinner that night, but it's winter. We know how we are. If we're both not feeling it that day, let's make it okay to back out. Putting those little caveats in there, or articulating your needs, naming it, whatever. Gosh, that saves you a lot of time and energy beating yourself up for it, feeling bad about it, making yourself wrong for these very human, natural inclinations that most people experience. But because we're abiding by these agreed upon societal rules that we somewhere along the lines decided was the best thing for us, everybody just sits and beats themselves up for it, which only offers resistance vibrationally, knocks you right out of alignment, and makes everything that much harder, when in all reality, we can all relate to it. So just start naming it and give yourself permission for it. Some other ideas for supporting your alignment mentally and emotionally: maybe during the winter months, it's a great time to hire a coach, or work with a therapist or a counselor. Make sure that you are getting out of the house by, conversely to what I was just speaking to. Make sure you're socializing just like once or twice a month. Meet up with a friend, just make sure that happens, or get on the phone or FaceTime or whatever and connect. Make sure you have connection there. Adopt those 2 daily alignment practices that I spoke to in the last alignment break: journaling and gratitudes. That's really going to support your mental and emotional alignment. And then spiritually, some ideas: this winter months and winter periods in our lives, that's a really great time. That's like a natural built-in time to go inward. So to really focus on your spirituality. So maybe read that book that you've been waiting to read. Actually read Awake and Aligned instead of just staring at the beautiful cover as it sits on your shelf. Take that class. Go on that spiritual retreat. Start that meditation practice. Join that membership that holds you accountable. The spiritual alignment membership is great for that. It is minimal in the material that I give you, bite-sized chunks to keep you conscious and consistent, because those are the two most important ingredients in this journey, in this work. And doing it with a bunch of people that you can feel connected to, seen by, witnessed, held, supported. That supports your alignment. So that might be a good option to adopt right now. But above all else, make sure that you are engaging consistently in a daily alignment practice, because all those other things, when all else fails, you are left alone with your thoughts, right? And having a daily alignment practice where you can focus and manage your thoughts without having to move, without having to go out, without having to take a class, without having to do any of those things, that's going to help you, and it's going to help you very, very quickly. It's going to help raise your vibration, your frequency, so that you can access all of this stuff more easily and recover to it more quickly. So that's my guidance for you today, and what I have found in my experience and observation to be immensely helpful and powerful during those more stagnant, seems to crawl by winter months or periods of life that feel more winterish. Is find anything and everything you can that uplifts you, that supports your alignment just by its existence, just by looking at my little, well, it's not there yet. Right now it's clutter, so maybe I'm not going to look at that. But when I have my tea station set up, just seeing it, not even having to have that cup of tea, just smelling the fresh flowers and seeing it is going to naturally and easily enhance and raise my vibration without me having to lift a finger. So what else? What else do you need? What is unique for you that's going to help support your alignment? Make a list, and then as it feels good to do so, take some things off that list and implement them, and you'll notice a difference. And please share with me. Share in the comments or email me. If you're in one of my groups or memberships, make sure you share how this makes a difference in your life, because not only is it going to make it more conscious for you and reinforce it in your experience, it's going to inspire other people too. And I'm always needing more ideas for my own practice. So thank you for listening. And don't forget, if you want more conscious content, you can sign up on my website, novawhiteman.com, for my free 3-day e-course, How to Raise Your Vibration in 3 Days. You can get Awake and Aligned on Amazon in hard copy, ebook, Audible form. We've got the membership program. Check that out. It's on my website. And I'll also just keep showing up for this YouTube channel. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, because it really helps my channel out and gets this conscious content to other people. All right, we'll see you in the next one. Take care.